Hi, I'm Arvin and this is Al, and we're here from PandaE6.com to give you an in-depth review of the Sigelei 100W box mod.
Alright, so let's dig right into it. So from Sigelei, right out of the box, what we get is our box mod, manual, warranty card, and some spare screws, and a mini screwdriver. It does include a copper center adjustable replacement pin that you can use as well. So I'm just going to go off with the specs, and the variable wattage operation range is from 10 watts to 100 watts, and just keep in mind that in order to utilize the full 100 watts you gotta have your resistance, your coil resistance from 0.15 to 0.5 ohms. Let's see, the variable voltage operation range is from 1.5 volts up to 6 volts, and what we discovered is that we can actually bump the voltage up to 7.4. That's what we speculate it's a step-down chip based on all the tests we've done so far. It doesn't seem like it has step-up capability. The batteries are wired in a series.
Keep in mind that also on the device itself you'll get a max display of 8.5 volts, but you're actually only going to be getting 7.4 anytime you have it displaying above that.
Exactly. The battery operation range is from 6.4 through 8.4 on a full charge. Once you hit that 6.4 mark, the device is going to shut down. It's not going to let you operate it any further. What else do we have?
The specs, that should cover everything with the specs of it.
Yeah. Keep in mind also, so this device, I've been using this at 100 watts. And once you hit 50% battery voltage, it is a step-down device with no step-up. So once you hit 50% battery life, your battery's halfway drained, and when you're firing at a high wattage, the voltage is high as well and can't keep up. So what happens is it cuts off after about 5 seconds when your battery's no longer giving that much voltage, and basically take a puff, 100 watts, 5 seconds, cuts off.
Cut out. So instead of it dropping its power level that it's giving you, it'll give you the same power that you want it to as much as it can, until the length of time it'll have to cut out because it doesn't have enough charge level to be able to support that kind of power.
Which I think is a great feature, because some devices on the market, what happens is they actually drop the wattage output and it's not giving you a true 100 watts. With this unit right here, gives you a true 100 watts but cuts that short based on the type of battery you're using. So some batteries might fare better than others.
Definitely, you definitely want to use a high-amp battery with this guy if you're going to be using it on the higher wattage settings. It'll display check battery if your battery doesn't have enough power output to be able to support what you have it set at.
Great, so let's go into build quality of this device. Let's see. Build quality of this device, it's pretty solid. It looks like, I would say it's like a unibody design with just a little cutout.
Pretty much, yeah, you just have a unibody with a cutout for the box. The battery cover, excuse me.
Yeah, the battery cover has pretty strong magnets. It comes with screws, but when you get it out of the box, we just took off the screws, used the magnets. It's pretty tight on there. It's pretty nice. You don't see any chips, exposed wires. It's solid build quality. We did have some questions on YouTube from our initial hands-on review of this with Arvin on there, and we got some questions. So the eSig advisor, I believe the display is showing you the battery voltage output. We did state it was 8.5 volts on there, not the chips output. If it's really limited to 6 volts, I'm a bit disappointed. So we kind of covered that already.
Yeah, definitely the voltage display that's on the screen itself is showing you the actual output voltage that it's firing to your atomizer. It does have a battery charge bar with percentage of charge on there for you for the battery charge level.
Okay, sorry if I butcher your last name, but Steve Matchett, I believe it is. What is the max voltage on the device?
So while the manual claims 6 volts, like we said through the testing, you'll see in our charts later too that we can actually get 7.4 volts out of it. And then just keep in mind that it'll display the 8.5 even though you're not really getting the 8.5 on it.
Cool. So next question is from Hoy Fam. How is the battery life of the mod since it's wired in a series? Is it going to last kind of like a one battery device?
Definitely get a lot more usage than I would get out of a single battery in my mech mod for sure. Even at 100 watts, firing it throughout the whole day, I got pretty much the whole days of use out of it without it cutting out at 50%. So
yeah,
I would say that's pretty good.
That's pretty much the same experience I had. It lasts longer than a neck mod with one battery.
Yeah, so
obviously. So next one's from your buddy Mark Kim.
Yeah, hey Mark, it's been a while. You were asking about if there are any logos or any kind of display things from Sigelei on the box, and as you can see, it is completely blank. The only thing that shows Sigelei is when you power on the device, they'll have their logo on the screen for you. So it's a nice, clean, sleek look, and I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome.
Alright, so the device does have some error codes in case it's not working properly for you, and we're going to quickly go over those. It'll display low res for low resistance if your atomizer on here that you're trying to fire is lower than 0.15 ohm. It'll say low battery if your battery charge level is below 6.4 volts. It'll display a bunch of H's if your battery charge is too high at over 9 volts. Which in case we always recommend throwing out the batteries anyways if they're getting overcharged. It's not safe to use.
Might be the charger though.
It could be the charger too, so you might want to check that too. It does say too hot in case you start using the device too much and it starts to overheat itself. It'll stop itself from working. But even taking a lot of chain drags at the full 100 watts with a 0.16 ohm coil, I've never got that to display, so I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. It'll say check atomizer if it can't read your coil that you have on here. Keep in mind there is an adjustable 510 center pin in there with a flathead screwdriver, and it's reverse threaded, so you might just have to adjust that so you get the proper contact. And it'll also display check battery for you if your battery charge level isn't high enough to be able to support whatever wattage setting you have it at. And that doesn't mean that you have to necessarily charge your battery. It just means if you want to keep using it on the same batteries, you just have to step down your wattage level until it can fire and perform properly for you. So we did have also, I know there was a lot of talk online about the button issue and being a sticky button. On my unit, I've only had it stick, I think I may have mentioned in the first video, it's only stuck on me once. And I've even tried to replicate it purposely by trying to press it in at weird angles, push it off to the side while it's inside, and I was never able to get mine to stick again.
Yeah, I've never had that issue with mine, so pretty lucky here.
We have had one of the test units that we did from our batch, one of our coworkers had. They did have that button sticky issue where after you let go, it still fired for a second or two. But they were also holding it and pressing it in with a thumb at weird angles. After I kind of gave them a little tip, flip it over, and to me this is the most comfortable way of holding it. Use your pointer finger, just press down on the button, and they never had the sticking issue again. So that just might be something to look out for. If you do ever have any kind of issues with the device, Sigelei does offer a 180-day warranty with it, and they state that Sigelei warrants to the original consumer purchaser that the Sigelei 100W will be free from any defects in material or workmanship for a period of 180 days from the date of purchase. Warranty does not cover any abused or damaged devices, improper use not in accordance with the instruction manual, repairs by unauthorized dealers, or under disaster. So it's pretty good that they are able to actually offer you a 180-day warranty, and it shows they stand behind their quality, which I don't think you should have much issues with this device at all.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, one thing to mention, I forgot to mention earlier in the build quality. Online we saw some in the pre-production units that they had like a charging port on there, like a USB or a proprietary charging port. On this device it has absolutely no charging port anywhere. Besides, there's vent holes on the bottom for the battery venting, but there is no charge port on here, so you just have to swap out your batteries, whenever the charge is low.
Yeah.
Cool. So we did do some testing with the unit with inline voltage meter, and we got some charts for you to show you.
Yeah, we did testing at both 100% battery and 50% battery just to show you the accuracy of the device as the battery charge drains, to see if you're still going to get what you want out of it when you have it set. And our results are pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and show you a quick picture of our testing apparatus and then also show you the charts. Alright, so here we have our chart displaying at 100% battery level at 2 ohms. And as you can see on the left we have our device wattage setting. Next to that we have the displayed voltage of the device, our voltmeter reading, and our calculator wattage on the right side of the chart. So as you can see throughout pretty much all of the range until you get to the very high end, it is firing pretty much dead on accurate. We're going to go ahead and show you the 50% battery level here. And you still get the same accuracy until about 25 to 28 watts, where you can start seeing it caps out at 6.8 volts, which is probably due to the battery charge level of it. And on our final slide we have tested our sub-ohm atomizer, 100% battery life at 0.22 ohms. You definitely see a little bit of voltage drop, but I'd still call that pretty good performance, average of about 0.2 volt drop. and at the 50% battery level, we had to use a 0.24 ohm coil, and you can see that it's pretty much the same thing. On the top end, you get a little closer to 0.3 volt drop, but the accuracy and consistency is definitely still there. You can see in the charts, it's definitely a really accurate device in terms of firing, especially with a high resistance coil like 2 ohm that we tested. You don't start seeing the limitations until the higher range of the wattage. Basically, it's pretty much firing dead on accurate, even with the 50% battery too. Starting at about 25 watts on the 50% battery, you start seeing the limitation of the device, where it's, we got about 6.8 max volts out of it, which we're going to chalk up basically due to the fact that it's a step-down regulation device, and it's probably limiting because of the battery charge that we have. And with the chart showing when we tested it with the low ohm 0.22 ohm atomizer and a 50%, we had to test it with a 0.24 ohm atomizer.
That's when I popped it.
Good job. Overall, I mean, there's definitely a little bit of a drop. We get in the higher wattage range with 100% battery, we see about a 0.2 volt drop. And at 100 watts, we're actually getting 95 watts out of it with a 0.22 ohm coil. And when we went to the 50% battery charge in the higher range, we're seeing closer to 0.3 volt drop out of it, which is still pretty impressive. At 100 watts, you get the 91.65 watts. But then remember, that's probably only going to be for about a 5-second hit or so.
Awesome. Are there any points that we forgot to mention earlier in the video that we should cover?
I do believe we may have forgot to mention the device does have battery polarity protection, so if you put in a battery the wrong way, it won't turn on for you, so that's a nice feature to have too. Couple things that I would personally like to see on the device. The resistance reading only reads to the 10th of a decimal. I'd like to say go to the 100th of a decimal, so it could be a little more accurate or more information for us. And the battery charge level, while it's nice they show it in percent, I would like to have seen an option where you could also see the battery voltage charge too, or the charge in volts.
That would be so useful.
Yeah.
So overall, if you guys found value in our initial, or I should say our in-depth review, but this is our first review, more devices to come. If you liked it, please subscribe, leave a comment below if you have any questions, concerns, or anything that we miss, so we can definitely answer your questions there. And we have the Sigelei 100W box mods on pandae6.com. They're up for pre-order. First batch out, second batch coming in around mid-September.
Yeah, about a week or so we should be getting them in and shipping them out as soon as we get them. And we're confident that anybody who receives one is going to be really happy with the performance and use of this device, just as we are.
Yeah, love it.
Alright, well, thanks for watching and take care, have a great day, and vape on. I got a burnt hit.